purchase.
It's showtime.
Hey, Carl. What is happening? I got to say, I stuck a couple Griffin claws out of Drew's fridge when I was there a couple weeks ago. They're delicious. I think I had the red ale.
Yeah, Norm's. Was it Norm's?
Very good.
Very popular. Yeah, they drop some off from time to time, and it usually doesn't stick around too long. But, hey, I saw the show where you had Stuttering John's high school transcript.
Yes.
And the funniest thing, well, first of all, it's hilarious. His highest score was an 86 in 4 years.
Oof. Oh, it's brutal. He had an F in music theory. This is a guy who claims to be a rock star and a better musician than everyone.
His English is like 65, 69. He says he's a Mensa, and how did he get into college?
Well, he went to community college for 2 years.
Oh.
And then transferred to NYU. And another guy reached out to me who went to school with John and said that NYU back in those times was everyone's fallback school.
Okay.
When are you getting those transcripts?
Oh, that's a good call. Probably track those down.
He acts like NYU is in the Ivy League almost.
He does. He does act like that. And he went to NYU for film study, which it might not even be an actual degree. Some people have showed me that you can get like certifications and things, like go there in the summertime if you want to learn how to be a key grip or, run a camera or something.
Well, I thought it was interesting. He said, those guys, they just will never learn. If they called the school and said they were me to get my transcript, they're in big trouble. And it's like, oh, that's a criminal mind right there, because why does he think you did that? Is that something he would do, maybe?
Isn't that interesting? His first thing was, I bet Carl called my school, pretended to be me. That's the only way he would get his hands on this. Meanwhile, John brags about having his own PI, digging up dirt on all of his enemies all the time.
Did these things just show up in the Dabbleverse? Because sometimes it's Shuli's show or your show or somewhere. This John stuff just pops up everywhere. Are there all kinds of people just digging all the time?
Yeah, people just send me amazing stuff. I don't even get to all of it. But the transcript, someone said, hey, I have this. Would you want to look at it? I'm like, yeah, of course. This guy brags about how smart he is and how good he was at school. It's amazing. You guys know this. He goes back to first and second grade, talking about his accomplishments. And then I show that he was terrible in high school and barely graduated. And he was 221st out of a class of 336. So he's basically in the bottom third.
And he says that shows how smart he is, because I didn't study at all. I fluffed off completely, and I still got C's.
But keep in mind,
spin that.
Keep in mind that his biggest attack against people are when, they either didn't finish high school or didn't go to college. If you didn't go to college, you're a dumb fuck in his eyes.
But nobody cares 40 years later. You've done a million things since then. How could he possibly think he's smarter than Antiochumia?
Because he's an idiot.
Well, that's the funniest part, is that he goes, I didn't care about high school. I was partying. I was playing guitar. I didn't care about that. Meanwhile, he loves to rag on Shuli and Bob Levy and producer Chris and Anthony, who all dropped out of high school. So, yeah, they didn't care about high school either, John. You see the similarities?
No, it's preposterous. And this whole talk about him being in Mensa. Hasn't he admitted that he isn't in Mensa?
Yeah,
he said that?
We're going to get to that eventually, because I'm going back and doing this series called Living in the Past with Stuttering John Melendez, where we go back and listen to old podcasts before the Dabbleverse existed. And I remember, we'll get to that episode, I remember where his co-host Royce goes, John, you're not in Mensa. Stop saying that. He goes, no, I like to say that, though.
Oh,
so he's admitted that he's not in Mensa.
It's a bit. Yeah, it's a bit.
But now he pretends that he is. And honestly, Drew, I've gotten to the point now where I think that John believes his own lies. John claims over and over again that I posted his book, the entire MP3 file of his audio book, on my Patreon, and I didn't. But he repeats it so often, I think he believes that's true now.
Yeah, I've heard him say it 45 times at least.
Right.
I want to mention something that happened over the weekend, by the way. There's a show that we don't talk about much, but Steel Toe Morning Show, which does a morning show and an afternoon show, and it's so stupid. We were just talking about bad podcasts, too, and I was kind of trying to set up The Fighter and the Kid and for you to talk about that. And I watched some Gringo Poppy before the show.
Oh, boy, good for you, buddy.
Yeah.
How long did you last on that?
About 12 minutes. It's so terrible. He keeps calling the audience Dallas, too. Did you notice that? Did you watch it? It's so lame. He's in Dallas shooting a special, and he keeps calling them Dallas. Like, it's just really, and the jokes are terrible. It's the lowest
Jokes?
rated. Yeah, jokes. It's the lowest rated special, isn't it?
Yeah,
Is that
on
what that list was?
IMDb, lowest rated. Both
So-
of us, his top two.
Anyway, Steel Toe, instead of doing super chats or having advertisers, he asks people to send him money the whole show. And then if his goal is what, $300 or $350 or whatever.
Yep.
And it's all about the goal. And, well, we can rally. We're $85 off the goal. We've only got 5 minutes left. It's like every show is like a telethon, like Jerry's telethon, which is the most insane format I've ever seen. So Mike has made a lot of fun of this. And Mike did a whole show, Blind Mike, on Sunday that was all about the goal, $10,000. He did nothing but ask for money for 5 hours and 26 minutes and raised $4,017. Wow.
It was hysterical too, because his whole approach to it, where he goes, guys, you've been getting off easy for too long, all you freeloaders. I've been giving you all this content, all this great content you're enjoying for free. It's time to pay the piper. And you guys owe me, I did the calculations, you guys owe me $10,000. So I'll start paying up over here. Just making fun of Aaron Imholt from Steel Toe, which is beautiful because Aaron does this thing that he embarrasses himself twice a day, like you said, on his show, begging for money. He can't stop doing it, and he's the worst at it. Everyone who makes fun of him makes more money making fun of him than he does trying to actually pull it off.
I just can't. How stupid is the audience when he says, okay, we can start a rally right now. Let's get a rally going. And it's like, no, the rally's for you. Nobody else is getting money. What the fuck? It's so
Guys,
childish.
We gotta get a W. He does a lot of sports analogies. We gotta get the W here. We gotta start a rally. We got 2.5 minutes on the clock. I need everybody to pitch in. We're all a team here. We all gotta pitch in. Don't wait for someone else to chip in. You be the first one to chip in.
Does anyone else use this format?
No, and he even does a countdown clock at the end. He's like, all right, guys, we still need $60. 10, 9.
Oh, Jesus.
All someone's got to do is throw $60 and we'll do overtime. The big thing you get if he gets the $350 is he does another 30 minutes.
Extra half hour of content.
Yeah, he teases the content he's going to do, too. It'll be, he'll say something like, yeah, a guy's leg got bit off by a shark. You're going to want to see that video. I can Google it.
Better send me some money.
Yeah.
And then one of the guys he works with, I think, is Johnny Crutches, the one who broke down crying over a super chat?
Yes, yeah.
Who-
This
did
guy Mersh told him he wasn't funny on a chat, and he was having a bad day anyway, and he just started bawling his eyes out. And it happened like 5 or 6 different times. And Aaron Imholt, the host, never recognized that he should just let the guy off the hook. He just cuts him on the show. It's actually the worst time.
Was he really crying that hard? I only saw it once, and he was crying for about 30 seconds, and then he kind of pulled himself together. Is he really sob?
Yeah, it went on for about an hour, just on and off crying.
Oh, my God. Was Steel Toe trying to comfort him?
A little bit, but Aaron's a weird dude. He's gonna be like, you got this, right? Johnny, you're good. You right, buddy? All right, you got this. You got this. And he's just like wiping tears from his eyes.
Oh, man. Well, I thought Blind Mike did a great job. It was very funny. And even when he hit like 3,000, he's going, that sucks. That's nothing. We got to get to 10,000. And the money kept coming in. It was the audience definitely enjoyed it. I'd be surprised.
I hopped on for a little bit. I was on there helping him with the rally.
Yeah, I caught you on there. You had a nice rally when you were on there. Congratulations.
I was promoting, because of the goal, I was promoting the fact that my hot sauce at silkcityhotsauce.com, towards the goal, you can get 15% off with the promo code WATP.
How's the hot sauce doing?
Well, I just talked to my guy today. Apparently, it's doing very, very well. And he's shipping me some bottles I have available at DabbleCon too. So if you're coming to Rochester August 16th and 17th, you'll be able to purchase some from our merch table. I know Brandon bought some of my hot sauce.
My bottle just came in yesterday. I have yet to try it, but I will be very honest in my assessment of its taste.
Well, can we set a goal and have a rally or something? Get people to buy
you got to
it?
have a goal.
I love, too, that you guys were, you had the 4 pictures of you guys, and then Steel Toe, he kept playing clips of Steel Toe begging for money, basically, and talking about W's and L's and rallies. And in the background, there were just dollars falling down the screen over and over. It was great.
No shame whatsoever. Fantastic.
So I warmed the audience up a little bit on The Fighter and the Kid and Brendan Schaub and his the Rogan connection and how it got built. And my feeling was, when I found out about this show and I watched it and I realized this is a terrible show. I can't believe it has as much audience. And I just thought, how long will people watch a bad show? And it turns out the answer is about 10 years because it's really dwindled in the last year. It's fallen way off.
Yeah, I'll give you some examples. First off, this episode we checked out, it's called Brian Owes Brendan Some Money, episode 1014. It has 41,000 views in the last 5 days, but that's out of 542,000 subscribers.
That's unbelievable. I mean, the ratio. What is the normal ratio for subscribers versus views? It's usually about the same, maybe? Or
I don't know if there's a normal ratio, but you can see videos that go higher than the subscriber limit, ones that maybe go half. That's probably fine. But yeah, if you're down to like the 10%.
Yeah, 1/12. 10% or 8%, 7%. That's so bad. And I've watched it go down because when Theo was on, I think they were getting about 400,000, 500,000. And then when he disappeared, it dropped to about 150.
Well, you're thinking of a different show with Brendan Schaub.
That's right.
Yeah, that turned into the golden hour.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is also hemorrhaging audience, even though Chris D'Elia's on there, who's pretty good.
He's terrible, but he's popular. He's got a name for sure.
His show by himself, I don't know why it did well, but it did well. Why did that show do well? Congratulations.
I don't know who the audience is for that. We've broken it down a few times. Blind Mike, who we were just talking about, does a brilliant job of breaking down that show because what happened is there was that documentary that came out. Chris D'Elia was cheating on his wife with all these different women, but it went way beyond that. There was, underage allegations, and he was kind of starting a sex cult. Yeah. It got really crazy, moving people to LA to live in this house, these young girls. And so now he has his wife on from time to time on his show.
Oh, is that weird?
It's such a weird dynamic.
Yeah.
Because she gets some jabs in. Like, you could tell that she's pissed.
Yeah, she brought up some sexual topic about infidelity. Maybe you played that. And I was like, whoa. And he was like, oh, God. I mean, he just, he was so bummed, openly bummed out.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think so. He feels obligated to have his wife on to show, like, look we're doing great. See, our relationship's awesome. Yeah, I cheated on her, but she forgave me. Everything's good.
So I don't understand. How can you have all these underage women saying that they had to ask him for permission to go to the bathroom, to leave the house? It was really the R. Kelly stuff. And it sounds to me, and there's a documentary or two about it, it sounds like this shit was really going on. How does he still sell at all these venues, decent-sized venues?
I'm actually surprised because there was a lot of talk about an FBI investigation. I thought this was going to get a lot more serious with law enforcement getting involved in it. I guess he used up all the resources. So Chris D'Elia is off the hook.
Do you guys watch Chris D'Elia at all? Are you familiar with his comedy, Brandon or Mark?
I'm familiar with it, but I don't watch it, and I'm not a fan of it.
So are his fans from his TV days? Because he was on a Netflix show.
Well, he had that show with Whitney Cummings.
Yeah.
Her first sitcom.
Whitney. And then he had an appearance in Workaholics as well. But he was most famous for being Justin Bieber's favorite comic.
Oh, that's right.
That's where he got his start. He was able to be on those roasts because the roast of Justin Bieber, because he was his favorite comic, and that's where he launched.
And we interviewed him when he had that sitcom. Do you remember that at all, Drew?
I don't.
It was fucking awful. He was not a good interview. That's the one thing I took away from it.
Yeah, I don't recall that at all.
Not a good interview.
Well, he's not a funny guy. He just makes weird noises, and he just says things with an inflection that's different, and he thinks that's comedy.
A la Dane Cook.
He's too cool for the room, too.
Yeah, he's quicker than Brendan Schaub and Eric Griffin, so he appears to be the sharpest guy on that show.
Well, yeah, so getting back to the fighter and the kid, the other thing I was going to say as far as their descent is they decided they were going to start this residency in Austin and start doing live shows. And they started at this comedy club that's right down the road from the mothership, Joe Rogan's club. And you would think they'd get into Joe Rogan's club because they both have relationships with Joe Rogan, which we're going to get into in a second. But they wouldn't have them at the mothership. So they had to do this other place, and they couldn't sell it out. They were supposed to do it every single month. The first show they did was a disaster. We covered it on WATP.
It's horrible.
And then they had to pretend they were canceling the rest of their shows for personal reason. Oh, what was it? Like Brian's wife was pregnant or something. Like, yeah, we can't do these live shows anymore. My wife's going to give birth. Like, wait, you knew that when you booked all these shows. What are you talking about?
Well, didn't Brendan say, I'm going off the road because I have to be a better father and coach my son's baseball team, Tigers team?
They were going to do these live podcasts that they abandoned, but around that same time, Brendan Schaub retired from stand-up comedy because he needed to be a better father, not because his shows were a disaster and no one was going to them anymore.
Well, did you watch Too Lazy to Try? That's the podcast. It covers podcasts.
Yeah, well, the one you sent me that I did watch, I think was podcast Cringe.
Okay. Did you watch? You didn't watch it?
I did.
Okay. I was really interested in the money part because I know that show used to make that he was kind of a money machine there for a while, wasn't he? Making big bucks.
So they did the whole breakdown, and the way they do that is they look at Social Blade, and Social Blade will estimate based on how many views you get on YouTube, how much money you're making. But the thing he's not factoring in there are the direct deals they do. And I noticed that they did a plug for Magic Mind, which is also a sponsor of mine. On the show, Brian Callen drank 2 Magic Minds on the episode, just to show you how amazing it is.
Is Magic Mind that great, Carl? Because I hear you do the ad, and I'm like, I wonder if Carl really is getting a lot out of Magic Mind.
I really do personally endorse it. I drink it every single morning, and you know what, Drew? When I came to Detroit last time, I forgot to bring them, and I was pissed at myself.
You seem sharp as normal. You seem normal to me.
Well, don't say that. MagicMind.co/WATP show 20.
Okay.
But thank you, Drew. I was able to persevere.
Yeah, somehow you made it through. But anyway,
I think it was having Lila on my lap that really helped me perform.
I'm sure that helped. It energized you.
Yeah.
But he says he's got to make it between $500,000 to $700,000 a year with a whole bunch of employees. I don't know how he can keep that. How can that maintain with all those employees?
And he's got this new thing too, and maybe we should skip to my last clip on here, my clip number 14, because they do their plugs at the end. And Brian Callen, who's a comic, throws out all these dates. I'm going to be in San Diego, and then I'm going to be in Austin. And then, and he throws out all these dates and check out my website and buy tickets. So then it's time for Brendan Schaub to do his plugs. And guys, can you even tell me what this is? He does not explain it at all. It makes no sense.
Drive Fast All Gas this Friday, Saturday, Sunday at midnight. It's gone forever. Limited edition King Shocks, Drive Fast All Gas, camo tees and hats that you see me rocking right now. It's a limited drop only this Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You get 30-time entries as well, but once it's gone Sunday at midnight, it's gone forever. Go to drivefastallgas.com, enter your chance to win this badass Raptor R killer. All right, guys, love you.
I don't know what the call to action is.
Merch? Is that what it is? Why is he
Was it
rubbing?
merch?
Why is he rubbing his thigh the whole time too? That was off-putting.
Why is it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at midnight, but there's a website involved? Like, is that West Coast time? What does that mean? And then he says 3X entry, but he doesn't mention that there's a sweepstakes or anything. He did a horrible job promoting whatever he's promoting.
He's giving away a truck, right?
Yes, he's giving away this Ford truck at drivefastallgas.com. And I don't really understand how it works. I know that he's trying to sell T-shirts and hats and shit.
Yeah, he implied that if you buy merch that you are entered, but then the Too Lazy to Try guy said, I read all the rules, and you don't even have to buy merch. You can just sign up.
Well, that's the law around sweepstakes in this country.
Yes.
You have to give an option where there's no purchase necessary.
Right.
That was the weird thing that, getting back to Steel Toe, not to get too deep here, that was the weird thing that Aaron Imholt used to do until he got called out for it, is that he would have these, in the evening shows that he would do, he would give out prizes to people who donated money. And like, well, that you can't do it that way. It's illegal.
I can't imagine doing a morning show and an evening show. That would be horrifying.
And it's the same format. Both shows are the same format. They're just going through the news of the day. It's like if you did an evening show that was like a game show and a morning show that was a morning show, okay. But yeah, I can understand it, but it's like you're just doing the same show twice a day.
5 days a week, right?
I think, yeah, it's something like that.
I mean, you got a show coming up all the time.
It's too much. Like, how do you possibly prep? How are you prepared for the show that you're doing?
How do you live a life to talk about too? I mean, anyway. So Schaub, did you watch an episode?
Yeah, so I checked out this entire episode, and it starts off, Brian is talking about getting seats. Brian, right out of the gate, is bragging about his nephews and how they smoke cigars, and he's into cigars because of his nephews. And his one nephew is really into the UFC. So Brian reached out to his buddy Joe Rogan to get him tickets, and started some good-natured ribbing from one Brendan Schaub on here.
He's a huge UFC fan. So we go, I don't know if I told you this, but we go, Rogan puts us on the floor, we're watching the fights.
You want to retell the story?
Well, we're on the floor. We're just not behind him.
You went cage side.
We're not cage side.
Yeah. You're behind the fighters. Yeah, go ahead. But I don't want to. I just want it all to be correct.
Still on the floor, though.
You can't see it on TV, yeah.
Still on the floor, though.
You're 12 rows back. It's not a big deal, dude.
It's actually a little bit more. You got to give me
about 15 rows back.
About 6 rows back.
A little more than that, bud.
No, 6 rows.
We can see 6 rows on TV.
No, 6 rows back.
No, it wasn't.
About 6 rows back.
I know exactly where you're at. You're behind the fighters.
Yeah, so that's about 6 rows.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Roughly 6 rows.
It's all good, dude. It doesn't mean that
Hey, you're
not
interrupting my story with details.
It doesn't mean you're not as famous as Jelly Roll, who they put in the front, or Tony Hinchcliffe.
They got my seats.
Oh my God.
I found that odd, the ball busting there, only because people pay a lot of attention to the last time Brendan Schaub was on Joe Rogan's show, and the fact that he's never performed comedy at the mothership. Like, Joe Rogan opened up this comedy club a couple of years ago and never invited Brendan to headline there, even though all of his other friends do. And then he's busting his balls about the tickets that Joe got him for UFC. It's like, what the fuck did he do for you? What are you talking about?
Yeah, he's jealous because Callan got some tickets, but Schaub's response is always that Joe is such a good friend, I don't ask him for anything.
Yes, he literally said that because they were reading questions and someone said, how come Joe Rogan's never on the show? And they go, well, he called in that one time. You know, this show's been on for 10 years. They called in that one time. And they're like, well, we don't ask him. I mean, I don't want to ask for favors from the guy.
Yeah, it shows what a great friend I am that I don't ask him to be on the show because everyone else asks me to do stuff, but I'm a great friend, so I don't do that.
Right. I must be a bad friend because I ask you guys to do WATP and Point Dabble Point, so I'm an asshole.
I know, and why is Joe's not a good friend to have them on his show, which has 13 million people listening? I mean, isn't that nice?
Yeah, that whole thing didn't make any sense to me, but that transitions into this conversation, the story that Brian tells, where Joe sends him a note and says, hey, we're all going out to dinner, whatever this weekend is that they're going to the UFC. And his nephew is such a cool dude. His nephew goes, dude, just go. I don't need to be there and meet Joe Rogan. I'll just be a distraction. No one knows who I am. And so Brian tells the story in my clip number 2.
He just got a really amazing job, by the way, like an amazing job.
Awesome.
And there's a reason he got that amazing job.
Yeah,
It's that,
he can read the
that
room.
social
Yeah.
intelligence. He reads the room.
Yeah.
By the way, tell me how rare that is. A lot of people can't read a fucking room.
Oof.
Right?
No.
And this kid can read a room. He can read a room. You
Smart
read a
kid.
room, I read a room, read a room. We go in, we see a situation.
Yeah.
They're great room readers.
What's hilarious about that is that Brendan Schaub notoriously cannot read the room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He sued a YouTuber named Unique and lost miserably, and it dragged out for over a year, this lawsuit that he had on there. Of course, I talked about the live shows in Austin they try to do. He's trying to reinvent himself as like a gearhead now and do this whole truck thing. He had that channel that was called Toontown.
Yeah.
T-O-O-N. No, I guess it would be,
T-U-N-E?
whatever it was.
Yeah.
T-U-N-E. Toontown. And he's already changed that. Like, that is already gone away because that didn't work
Yeah,
at all.
no
But meanwhile,
audience.
they're tapping themselves on the back and bragging about being able to read a room.
And by the way, this nephew, who is so brilliant that he refuses an offer to go out to dinner with Joe Rogan and a group of people because he doesn't want to be a distraction. Well, it sounds like he's got an ego or something. How is he going to be a fucking distraction? He's a
not
nobody
good-
in that crowd.
Yeah, he's not good at networking.
Yeah. Who cares? Like, he shows up and they're like, hey, this is my nephew. Hey, what's going on, man? Nice to meet you. Like, it's not a big deal. I don't think it would be a big deal.
He thinks he's going to be the center of attention and just run away with the evening or something with all those people there? That's
I don't know.
ridiculous.
Didn't make any sense.
But it's
So-
his best quality, according to Brian.
Speaking of things that don't make sense, after this, Brendan Schaub goes off on this story about his car breaking down. I have this in 2 parts. We'll start with my clip number 3 here, because he comes up with this out of nowhere. There's no reason for him to bring this up.
No.
I had a day yesterday, and then I brought Bossy to the studio, right? So he's here with me all day. And then I did some work to my lighting. I was eating Flamin' Hot Cheetos and rubbed my eyes, so that's cool. So I was leaving here, and the fuel lines on my truck just blew up before I'm getting on the highway. So I called Joe, called my girl. I'm like, hey, you gotta pick Bossy up. I'm on the side of the road. It's dangerous for him. Get him out of here, and then I'll deal with getting the truck, back to the shop. She picks him up. I'm there for 3 hours before tow truck in the middle of the afternoon. It's
3 hours.
It's 100 degrees out here.
3 hours.
And I'm in jeans, and there's no shade, and I'm so frustrated. I'm just sitting there in silence, so frustrated. I didn't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
All right, so a couple of things here, and first off, Bossy, he has 2 kids named Tiger and Boston.
Oh boy.
So he's talking about his younger son, Boston, there, and he
Cool.
says that there's no shade. He's in his truck. Wouldn't your truck be shade?
I think you can find shade if you really look around.
Yeah, if you're sitting in your truck, I would think that you would have shade. Now, the fuel line breaks, so I don't know if you can run the AC. Or
That's
not.
what I was gonna ask. Yeah.
Like, if not, you could definitely at least run the fans.
Yeah.
You could have your radio on.
Yeah.
Like, there's things you could do.
The doors open.
The windows
Yeah.
open. I mean, yeah, there's shade in the truck, of course. But I had no idea where this story was going, in that somehow he would end up being the hero at the end of the story. Isn't that weird?
So, Drew, because you watch this, you know the story goes on and on. What I've done is I've sped this up to 2x speed so we can get through it. But I thought it was important to include all of this so you can hear all of these details and understand why the payoff is so ridiculous.
A tow truck guy comes from AAA, young Mexican cat. We get in, we're kind of shooting the shit. There's rush hour traffic. And he's like, oh man. And I was like, yeah, this traffic kind of sucks now, man. And then he's like, oh, what's wrong with the truck you think? I'm like, going to the fuel lines and fuel rails and all this stuff. He's not a car guy. He's like, oh yeah, I figured that, man, don't worry. And I was like, okay. And there's like that awkward silence. I went, how long have you been doing it? He's all, this? In 3 years. I'm always interested in like the pay structure. And I go, so how do they do it? Like even Ubers, I always ask them like, how's it paid? Like what do you think of it? So then, and sometimes I need exact numbers. I was like, how do they do it? Just AAA, like they give you the truck and then they pay you a salary and then you're covered with their insurance. But he's like, no, man. He's like, they give us the truck, but we have to have our own insurance, I think. And then also we're paid per hour. And he's like, so I do all of Southern Cali, right? Like, I go all over. And I was like, oh, like 9 to 5. He's like, no, man, I try to work 12, 14-hour days, Monday through Saturday. I wish I could work Sunday. I was like, God damn, dude. And remember, I was complaining about my truck. And he goes, yeah. And he goes, yeah, I wish I worked Sunday. And he's like, the big thing is tips, too. Like, we get tips and it really helps out. He's like, maybe it's just the economy. They just people aren't tipping enough.
Cash.
Yeah, that's why I was like, yeah, there's no cash. And then also, with AAA, like, you already have a membership, so you're already paying that monthly fee. So
I wouldn't think to tip that guy. I wouldn't think to tip him.
Yeah, I didn't need to brought it up, but this is he's like, yeah, and it wasn't like he was giving me a sob story to give him a tip. He was, yes, because you want to do hours, I wish you could work more. He goes, I'd work Sunday if I could, man. I'd work 24 hours. I was like, oh, hustling, man. And he looked young. I was like, oh, just hustling, trying to make that bread. He's like, no, I got 4 kids, man. One of my kids is autistic. I was like, I was like, how old? 8, Tiger's age. I was like,
Oh, he's getting to you now. Oh, boy.
And I tell him I had kids. I was like, oh, man, it's tough. And so we're talking about his kid and the special school and all this. He's like, he'll be all right and all this stuff. And then when he dropped me off at the house, because I had to take the house, I'm at the shop and get it. Dropped me off at the house. I never have cash for whatever reason. I had this cat. Oh, because
Tiger's baseball team went bowling and I covered it for all the dads, and so they gave me a bunch of cash. So for whatever reason, I never have cash, ever.
Never.
I had a fucking stack in my pocket.
And you gave it to
Gave
him.
it to him. He started crying.
He did?
Yep.
So cool.
Yep.
So cool.
You're so wonderful.
So that's why I had to play that entire story. That entire thing was just to say how generous Brendan Schaub is, giving this guy who has 4 kids, an autistic kid, a bunch of money.
And what a great dad he is, too. I hate that in podcasting, broadcasting, anything, when someone, their only goal is to tell you what a wonderful parent they are. And it's so obvious, from the story. But there's always those suckers who go, oh, my God, you're so wonderful. I can't believe he did that. And he paid for all the parents' bowling, too. For his
But he
kids'
didn't,
team.
because he got a bunch of cash from
they
it.
gave
it's
him
like,
cash.
he's like, I covered everyone for bowling, so they all gave me cash. Like, so you didn't cover it. You just
No.
put your card down,
Yeah.
and they
Right.
reimbursed you.
And the guy starts crying because nobody does it. And you know what? I was also thought about this in the story, which was going really fast. You might not have caught that. The guy said he works 12 to 14 hours, 6 days a week, and nobody tips. And I thought,
Nobody
well,
tips.
that's kind of a weaselly
That
thing
was
to
a
say.
total
because-
weasel move.
Yeah, because then you
and
feel
I
like
commend him for it. That was a good job because it worked.
it was a good move.
He knew
Yeah.
he had a fish on the hook.
So maybe he was the ultimate manipulator in the story.
Have you guys ever tipped a tow truck driver
Never.
before?
I wouldn't
Never.
think to do that.
No.
And by
I
the
wouldn't
way,
think to either, because
It's already
usually tow truck
expensive.
drivers have a negative connotation in my mind.
Well, unless they were to go above and beyond, like maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, he did drive the guy home, which I've never heard of a tow truck driver driving someone home.
Oh, that happens all the time. I've been driven
Seriously?
home by a tow truck driver 3 or 4 times. in my
Never,
life.
never have.
well, if they did something out of the way for me, I would. I'm starting to feel pressure now when the pizza guy comes and they have the 3 options, 25%,
Always.
15%.
Always have
It's
to.
like I was feeling like Mr. Big Stuff one night and I hit 25% because I like this guy. So now I always have to give him 25%.
I actually did, well, not accidentally. I just gave somebody 0. I'm like, I'm never coming to this place again because I don't want to be known as the guy that gave no tip. So I've just written that one restaurant off.
I just pulled a Brendan Schaub, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. The worst part, so I use these apps where you have to tip them in
Yes.
advance.
Yeah.
Which is the
pointless.
worst thing. it doesn't even make sense.
No.
Like, how does this pan out? Where I'm already giving you
Yeah.
$12 to drive food to my house. Are you going to make it here? Is it going to be cold?
Are you going to go above and beyond now that I've already tipped you?
What's
And
their
if you-
incentive now?
If you give a shitty tip, then is he going to spit in your food? I
Give
mean,
him no tip, yeah.
there's no way to
fucked up.
win.
Speaking of no way to win, they start talking about Kamala Harris. This next part that I want to talk about. And there's a lot of things they bring up about Kamala. It's not very insightful. They don't really know what the fuck they're talking about. But this one thing really stood out to me because of all the things people talk about Kamala not doing well with, I was not familiar with this story. And Drew, if you knew about this, I'd be curious to know.
You remember when she was trying to predicate to the urban crowd and in New York? Because in New York, you know, the East
Change
Coast.
her accent.
That she always does that, but she wore Timberlands because Timberlands a very East Coast thing, but she wore the wrong ones. There's a certain style you wear. So somebody in her team was like, "Hey,
Totally out of
you
touch.
go to New York. There's gonna be pictures. Put these Tims on. This is what all the kids are wearing. They've been wearing it for a year." And she wore the wrong ones.
Let me see. This is great.
They're just not. That's not the style that they're wearing out there.
Yeah, she's unbelievable.
I've never heard that story.
No.
No.
Is it?
I can't vote for someone who has the wrong Timberlands on.
Right.
Who
what are
fucking
those?
cares? Jesus Christ.
So
What a
stupid.
dumb thing. Also, can you replay the beginning of that? He says, trying to predicate.
Yeah,
To the
yeah, I
crowd?
caught that, yeah.
I don't think that's the word.
Remember when she was trying to predicate to the urban crowd and in New York?
What is he trying to say there?
Placate? I don't
I thought placate. I asked my wife. She said maybe relate. Maybe trying to get a big word that sounds like relate. I don't know.
Yeah, placate. I'm not sure, but
don't know
I
if
heard
that
him
even
say.
works.
I heard him say a few times. I remember distinctively, and then
Yeah.
he had another quote where he said, "My memory remembers certain things."
Oh, that's I have that clip on here.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Let's skip to it. Number 10. I pulled that just for this reason. And I know Podcast Cringe did a whole thing about Dr. Doom and Superman. I don't really care about that. But just to give you the quick background on this, on a previous episode, they were showing that Dr. Doom is going to be played by Iron Man.
Robert Downey Jr.
Downey
Robert Downey
Jr.,
Jr.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so they go, "What do you think about Dr. Doom?" And Brendan Schaub goes, "Oh, yeah, I know him from Superman." And then all these people in the comments are just like, "You idiot. One's DC, one's Marvel, blah, blah." So then he was vindicated because there was some type of crossover comic book that he claims that he had when he was a kid. And that's why he knows this. But yes, clip number 10 is very funny.
Oh, Jay was saying we were getting some emails because we're talking about Dr. Doom, and I was saying how he was with Superman. So Dr. Doom's from Marvel, right?
Yeah.
Superman's from DC.
Yeah.
It was like one's Marvel, one's DC. Brendan's so wrong. I'm not wrong. I had the comic book as a kid.
Well,
if you look
You
it up,
remember these things.
Yeah, it's my memory remembers certain things.
That's how memories work.
Carl, I thought it was hilarious that he said that he found out people were giving him shit for being wrong through emails. How would he get emails so quickly on a show
Right.
like that? No,
Right,
he's reading comments, but he doesn't want to admit it because he says he doesn't read comments.
The producer goes, "How do you know that people were complaining?" We're reading the comments. He goes, "No, I never read comments, but someone told me there were emails." I think you're reading comments. Yeah,
Jeez,
I'm
just
not
say you
buying
read
that.
the comments. Who cares?
Oh, well,
Right.
he there's so much crap about him.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be a tough guy. Read the fucking comments.
He has to pretend he
Well-
doesn't care, I guess.
Honestly, Mark, you know that South Park episode where Butters has to read all of Cartman's
Yeah.
social media? If Brendan Schaub had to read everything that's written on YouTube and Reddit, I don't think he would survive it.
right.
It's brutal. It's
It is.
really rough.
I really think that Brendan in some ways equals Stuttering John because he has unearned success like John, who really is on the back of Howard Stern, the back of Jay Leno, and Brendan is on the back of Joe Rogan, right?
Well, he was a UFC fighter. He was successful in that. So he, similar to John, he does have a resume. He does have credits.
He has no
that he can
he has no
both.
self-awareness.
But yeah, he has no self-awareness, and he lets every comment get to him, and he reacts to it. And he's a bigger wool cow as far as the grand scheme of things than Stuttering John was, for sure.
I saw some clips of him. Again, this is too late. Our podcast Cringe was playing these of when he got the special Gringo Poppy, and he was really talking shit. I mean, like, "Oh, you detractors, I got a special on Netflix." And then, of course, it's the biggest joke in the history of comedy specials. But he was
Yeah.
talking shit, seriously.
Yeah, not until recently that he quit comedy. He really thought he was better than everyone else for some reason. It's just his comedy is terrible.
I'm amazed he had the balls to actually make dates and come up with. I mean, did someone help him write that terrible set he has?
I hope not, but maybe.
I don't know. I mean, comedy is such a hard thing to go into for a guy who fought UFC. And was this Rogan's idea?
Probably, yeah. I think Rogan probably talked him up because back in the day, Rogan was telling everyone to start podcasts and to do all this stuff because it's like, yeah, it's easy, guys. Just get on the internet, talking to a microphone, you make $250 million. It's great. Everyone should do it.
I would say, if you were new in both fields, I would certainly go into podcasting before I'd go into stand-up comedy. I mean, that's a huge challenge.
Yeah.
By the way, Brandon was saying he saw Joe Rogan's new comedy special and didn't think it was all that great.
I didn't think it was. I wasn't rolling on the floor laughing. No.
Well, I'll give him credit, though. He did it live, which I don't think any other comic has done that.
Chris Rock did the one. He did the first one for Netflix.
Oh, yeah, Netflix. You're right, yeah.
But, I mean, those are pretty big shoes.
Except, Carl, the one thing about going live is when you have boob sweat, there's nothing you do about it. As Brandon alleges.
No, I found that out 18 minutes into the special. I said, oh, boy, there's some perspiration there. And by the end of it, I'm sure there must have been tons of tit sweat.
Oh, I would have been soaked. I would have been so wet.
But I know most comics, what they'll do is they'll do 2 shows in the theater and they'll piece together
the best.
whatever works from either show and put together their special that way so they can take things out that don't work. They can take this thing from the first try and this thing from the second try. So to do it live like that is a ballsy move.
Yep.
I'll give him credit.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And it's interesting, too, that I hear a lot of people say they're not really nuts about his stand-up, but they love his podcast. I mean, it's objectively, it's one of the biggest podcasts, if not the biggest podcast there is.
Well, you know why? It's because Joe is interested in a lot of things. And I've liked Joe Rogan's podcast going back before I started the podcast. And it wasn't, it was big back then, but not as big, obviously, as it became. But only because he can talk about so many different subjects. And he has some knowledge on a lot of different subjects. He can get real deep into a lot of interesting things.
I agree. I think Joe's great at it. He is a little interested. He's interested in a few too many things for me. I find there's certain ones I'm not gonna like, but I can usually see by the subject if I'll like it.
Yeah, I'm not an elk hunter, so I don't get into that kind of stuff, but
he goes pretty deep. All right, so is that all for Brendan? Do you have anything more before we move on?
I have a few more things. So I want to talk about, they get into the story about the Japanese 7-Elevens coming to America. So my clip number 12, this kind of sets it up, and you're going to see that Brendan Schaub is really a connoisseur when it comes to great food.
Have you guys ever seen YouTube videos on Japanese 7-Elevens?
They have good food.
Amazing food.
So does in England and in Ireland. If you remember, Yumi and Jay were in, I think, Manchester. Remember we walked to that, like, it wasn't a 7-Eleven, but whatever it's called out there. And
like a mini market.
And the food was legit.
Yeah.
That's not a 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Italy's that way. You do the truck stops. The food is homemade. It's unbelievable. Homemade. Most of the world is, like.
Well,
but the place up here, not 7-Eleven, whatever that is, the Shell, they got taquitos and pizza and chicken wings.
What?
Yeah, maybe I should visit the area and check it out.
The fuck is he talking about?
A Shell gas station has pizza and chicken wings. Like, yeah, it's pretty good there, too. I'm like, okay, everything you said before that, out the window.
Yeah.
It's not terribly relatable. The Shell station. I mean, really? For food?
Yeah.
Is it worth bringing up?
Well, it sounds like it's probably got a 7-Eleven in it, too, when he mentions the taquitos and everything, or at least a Speedway, right?
Yeah, maybe I'll check out the nearby Shell station over in Ferndale and check out their food for dinner tonight.
See what the wings are like over there. So then,
wait, that Shell station down in Woodward right there's got a pretty good ice cream store next to it. It's all the same building. I don't know. Yeah, you've been there. See, I told you. See, apologize to Shaw.
That's so stupid.
Well, it's so stupid because the whole point of the story is something very different than getting wings and pizza at a gas station. But then Brendan brings up a thing in my next clip 13 that I don't think he knows what he's saying.
They're coming to America.
Uninformed about this.
Sorry.
They're coming to America. That's the current rate.
Up.
But it's Japanese style 7. Does that mean 7? It's 7-Elevens. Here's what. In the car world, cars at 7, like hashtag 7-Eleven cars is like a big thing.
What does that mean?
like people will take their cars and take pictures at night in front of 7-Eleven. It's and 7-Eleven has their own like car team, like race team.
Oh.
But it's like it's almost like an unspoken thing. But the cars at 7-Eleven's a thing. You see like dope ass cars, yeah. They sell like race merch and
just
shit.
an idiot.
Yeah.
Interesting.
7-Eleven's
Interesting.
I love 7-Eleven.
Is he
Original Big
slow?
Gold, baby.
There you go.
Did someone say interesting, or was it one of us?
No,
that was
he did.
Brian Galen going, yeah, interesting. Okay, take photos in front of the 7-Eleven.
That is not interesting.
No.
He had
Not
no idea what he
remotely.
was talking about. You know 7-Eleven cars? No, what is that? They people take their photos of their nice car at a 7-Eleven?
That
Oh,
is-
yeah? Why is that? Well, they sell like like race car merchandise and stuff.
That is a show that does not know content. That is not content, Brendan. Sorry.
Oh, can I give you one or two more examples of that, Drew?
Sure.
Because there were a couple times I felt like this is the wrong format for them to go through topical news stories and comment
Yeah,
on it because they don't
no.
know what the fuck they're talking about.
No.
My clip number 11, they're talking about R. Kelly, and he wants to take this to the Supreme Court, his case, and they don't know what they're talking about.
He argues that the statute of limitations had already run its course by then, and then the law came into effect.
Oh, I see.
So he wants those charges dropped.
Yeah, that would probably, he might win that.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. He might win it.
I doubt it.
How
'cause
much time is he
bet-
serving?
Oof, hot. I mean, he's gonna die in prison.
Who knows?
Do you know anything about the story, guys? Anything?
Dead air.
Anything?
That was delightful.
They don't know anything about this story. Come on.
They're just staring at each other. It's
Yeah.
so bad. And earlier in the show, they're talking about home prices and how expensive they are. And Brendan Schaub doesn't understand what a median is versus average. I won't be nitpicky on that. But clip number 7, this is their brilliant analysis on home prices.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So, man, you're a young college kid trying to start a family. What the fuck do you do?
you're not doing that.
Back in the day, you could, but now, not a chance, dude.
It's really a problem. And even people over 60 are having problems too. It's like saving money, making money, keeping up with things.
That's wild.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Yep.
What else you got, Jid?
So guys, you can actually fish in Alaska and get money for it.
That was into an ad break. I'm just going, wow, yeah, okay, cool.
I mean, I think the homework for that, or the prep for that, was Brendan happened to pick up a flyer out of somebody's box and saw what their house cost.
Right.
Oh my
They're like,
God.
man, things are expensive.
Yeah,
they
they're
are.
really going
Wow.
up. It's crazy.
Hey, even if you're 60, they're expensive. You got to make money and save money.
Yeah, he's like, young people having a hard time buying houses, older people having a hard time buying houses. Like, yep, they're expensive.
I think
Got
if you're
it.
60 plus and you're having a hard time buying a house, you probably haven't saved money very well. You probably haven't had a very successful career. It's not really about the home prices.
Yeah, houses aren't for you at that point.
Yeah, your planning is a little late.
All right, one more clip. I'm sorry, one more clip on here because the
Sure.
intern
I wanna
there
hear
is
all of it.
also.
I love that clip.
The intern is also really, really dumb. So she's on there and she's explaining, I guess her name is Snaz, that's what they call her. And she's saying that she doesn't like white guys. And it's bizarre to me, there's a whole generation of people who do not understand race at all. And she falls into that category.
I'm not into super white dudes. That's
Really?
not
Now,
what we're gonna make.
does Russian, Ukrainian super white, Swedish super white?
They're not white, no.
That's not white to you? No. Oh, so white's like, you mean like American,
American
like,
Corn-fed American, like the kids that are like, yeah.
What? The kids that
She
are
doesn't
like,
think
yeah?
Russians, Ukrainians, and Swedes are white people.
What the fuck is she talking about?
She brought up like, I don't like guys from Ohio. Like, well,
Yeah.
there's a lot of like black guys from Ohio too, you know.
Yeah.
Nebraska, corn-fed.
Oh my
That's
God.
stupid.
Idiots.
I mean, props to Brendan Schaub for asking that. I wouldn't even ask that question. Do you think Ukrainian people and Russians are white? Like, well, yeah, obviously. No, I don't. Oh,
She looked fairly light-skinned. What is her nationality? Do you know offhand?
White.
she probably is.
She
yeah.
looks white to me.
Yeah, she looks
Yeah.
pretty white. She probably just hears that white guys are part of the patriarchy.
Brandon's got a different picture up. She looks Hispanic
Oh,
in that one.
yeah,
who
okay.
knows? I mean, what is snaz? What kind of name is that?
I think it references her nose.
Oh.
Are you saying she's Jewish?
There's a lot of speculation that she was hired as an intern because Brennan's trying to fuck her, but I don't know. I'm just reading Reddit.
Well,
What do
gotta
I
tell
know
you,
about
you should.
that?
I mean, looking at her, she's pretty hot.
No, Brendan's a family man. He quit doing stand-up so he
that's
coaches
right.
his son's baseball team.
Right.
Tiger, his
You know what?
8-year-old.
Since we're on a roll here, Drew, can we get an
Yes.
Olympic update?
Yes, please.
All right, my clip number 8. So they're talking about that French swimmer or diver with the big hog you guys
yeah,
were talking about
yeah.
the other day, and why do they even have producers? They have these people who are on camera looking stuff up. No one knows anything.
Did he win a medal or did it slow him down?
I stopped reading after I
Oh,
watched
he's
that.
French.
Yeah, he's French.
No ass. Look at him, no ass. They're built like stingrays.
Yeah,
If you're a swimmer, you're built like a stingray.
stingrays. Yeah, he's a diver or is he a swimmer?
That doesn't matter.
Diver. It doesn't matter.
They don't know anything. And I love that the stingray joke was told 3 times.
Yeah, yeah. And it worked. None of them.
No, it doesn't make any sense. Why is Brendan Schaub's first reaction to a guy in a Speedo is that guy's got no ass?
I know. I love her line though. I just stopped reading it. Why are you bringing it in?
It
then?
was so dreadful. She couldn't last but so long with the story, and yet they're talking about it, and no one knows anything. It sounds
They
like
do
they've
no
decided,
prep.
you know what, we need to do some content. Let's get some stories going, but you have to read about the stories.
yeah.
To
Right.
discuss them, you have to know something.
You have to be interested in them too.
I mean, I can't imagine there'd be someone who didn't read like Brandon's prep for this show. That'd be crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's been people in this room that haven't read it.
Yeah,
You don't read your own prep.
What are you talking about?
You don't read your own prep.
I do too. I read all of it.
No, Brand, sometimes you just post it and you don't read the story.
Well, you should.
I
'cause it's in
usually
the prep.
read it. I read it, but it's always like 2 weeks before.
You
when
fucking
when the news
liar.
first comes out.
You always say that bullshit.
So true.
Shots fired.
So true. It's old news by the time I get it.
Brand said a story one day and it was so long, and I was like, God, Brandon, that story was so long. And you said, yeah, I know, I couldn't even get through it. I'm like, well, why'd you send it to me?
Well, because you're a great reader. You're a speed reader, and so I figured you'd cover the whole thing and then regurgitate it to me.
We count on you, Drew.
I almost got through it. Not quite. It was really, really long.
You're Brandon's Audible. You read things to him.
You've always had a way of explaining stories to me, so I just
Well, you
sent
can
it your
read
way.
it.
I can't wait to watch more Tiger and the Kid. I mean, if they're, or Fighter and the Kid, if they're going to do content like news, I want to see more.
Yeah.
I know. That, by the way, the second half of the show was the most fascinating part. Where they just kept pulling up stories and going like, what's that? I don't know. Okay, moving on. Like they had the surfer that got eaten by the shark. They had no idea. They thought he was in the UK for some reason. Like they were confused about everything.
You can.
It was
Yeah,
very
no,
funny.
I think they said the Aussie swimmer, and then Brendan says, where was this again? Well, it said Aussie swimmer, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they thought it was in Wales.
Right, Wales, yeah, that's
Coast of
different.
Wales, so.
That's a
Very
great.
No, it's really, there's a
Sounds
lot of
fun.
funny stuff
Yeah.
going on behind the scenes there.
Start
no
watching
doubt.
the show. The show sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's not funny, and that is Woke Dad. Do we have a drop for my boy Woke Dad?
Of course we do. We have a whole song for Woke Dad.
I would do anything in my power to keep him happy, healthy, and safe. The name that they would call their superhero was I stand up against injustice, standing up for what's right. Dress up and have fun. I called him out on his bad behavior, homophobia, transphobia. It's the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen in my life. I create safe spaces for kids. I have 2 queer kids myself. Kids in the trans community. Sometimes it just takes me correcting people. Homophobia, transphobia. And my kid's superhero. Trying to make the world a better place. LGBTQI, LGBTQI, LGBTQI.
Well, that song really does sum up what an absolute ass he is.
It really is. And
I try to
have
correct
some-
people.
I checked out the last week or so of his TikTok videos, and I want to start with some childhood memories that he has. One of my favorite things about Woke Dad is his Whoppers. Remember that one we played on here where him and his black friend were like 6 or 7 years old?
Jungle, in the concrete jungle, right?
The concrete jungle. The kid broke his bottle of Coke, and the cops came and arrested him.
It's my favorite Woke Dad story.
Yeah, I think that
Pretty
kid's
good.
still in prison to this day for breaking the bottle of Coke.
And Woke Dad broke the bottle, but they blamed the black
the
guy.
black
Of course,
guy.
the
Right,
racist, the
right.
racist
That's
cops.
when he recognizes privilege. Yeah.
Yep.
So my minister story. This is so full of Whoppers. This is insane.
I went to an event with a family friend who was also a minister, and it was the first event I'd ever gotten to go with him, just me and him, and I was so excited. It was going to be so fun.
Oh, boring.
And I got home, and my mom always wondered why I was so defeated, why I was so sad. And I never told her, but I did something while waiting for him in his car that made him so angry that he decided to lay hands on me. Do you want to know what I did? It was a cold winter day. The windshield had fogged. And in the fog of that windshield, I wrote, "Jesus loves me." He was upset because he had to wash his windshield, so he made me get out of the car, and he slapped me across the face. 6 years later, that same man showed up to my high school graduation party in front of all my friends, in front of my family. He kissed me right on the lip. And in that moment, he spewed such vile homophobia. I can't repeat any of it because it was so horrific.
Because
But
it didn't happen.
Why'd he kiss you?
if I can give you the gist, he always knew that I was gay and that I liked that stuff, and he wanted to prove to everyone I ever cared about that I was sinning in the eyes of God. Here's the thing. Most of my friends were part of the LGBTQI community. They walked away in disgust, but
No, they weren't.
I'm just your average, everyday,
they
cis,
didn't.
straight, white dude. I walked away as well, but I walked away to the sound of my family members laughing because they thought that was funny. If you ever wonder why I stand up to injustice, it's because bullies deserve to be stood up to. Not just everyday average bullies, but also those who bully in the name of God.
Wow.
Oh my God, there's so much to unpack.
All right, what's your favorite lie in that whole thing? I mean, aside from the kiss. I mean, we can all agree that's the best lie.
Most of his friends were either gay, bi, or trans when he was graduating high school.
I was going to say the same exact one, Carl.
I was kind of stuck on the fact that he was like a kid and he was so excited to hang out with the minister. I would not be excited about that if I was a kid at all.
Yeah, yeah. I think the minister slapping him is another good whopper. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
believe that.
ridiculous. So he's in the car. He's 12 years old. He writes, "Jesus loves me." The guy's like, "Get out here, you idiot!" and slaps him for that. It's like he just wiped
way.
it down with a napkin. Who cares?
Did not happen.
Jesus loves me. That's not. Yeah, listen, I was punished years ago when I was a kid. We were going to the Joe Louis Arena for a Red Wings game, and we had condensation, and someone wrote "fuck you," and we were only like 10, 11 or something like that.
Did they go to your graduation party?
That was one of those we're gonna pull over and someone's gonna admit it. Now that would get in trouble because you wrote "fuck you" and you're a kid, but Jesus loves you.
Yeah, I mean, at the minimum, you'd think you'd draw a penis,
Yeah.
Right? Yes.
which the guy would have loved since he liked kissing him on the lips. I understand.
Didn't happen, man.
With the kiss on the lips, he did that to troll him?
Yeah, I guess so. He was calling him out as being gay. So it's funny because a lot of people who watch these videos are saying, this guy's in the closet. He keeps saying over and over again that he's, cis male, heterosexual, and he comes across as the opposite of that. And apparently his minister thought that too.
He said, "I'm just an average cisgender." He is so not an average cisgender white guy or whatever he says. That he's not average at all.
He's so soft. And I have a clip coming up that's going to prove that. But first, let's talk about his dad. His dad was a monster. When you hear this story, you guys are going to feel bad for him.
Well, he laughed. Oh, shit, sorry. Is this the same one that laughed when the minister kissed him?
No, probably. Yeah,
Yeah,
he said
yeah.
his family was all laughing at him. Yes,
If he was
probably.
there, he probably skipped his graduation.
Sorry,
I would guess.
I was having a technical issue there. Sorry. I was trying to drag it out. Here we go.
When I was a kid, everyone used to call me Dan or Danny, and my dad hated it. Oh, he hated it. He used to say, "Daniel, I never named you Dan or Danny. If I wanted you to be a Dan or a Danny, I would have named you that, but I named you Daniel. That's your name." And man, that would drive me nuts. He'd do it in front of my friends and the people that I cared about. And one day, I got enough courage up to stand up to this monster of a man, this man with hands bigger than my face. I got right up next to him and I said, listen, Dad, my name is Dan or Danny. That's how I feel most respected. That's what everyone calls me. You don't have to like it, but you can at least respect me. I said, you wouldn't like it if I called you anything other than Dad. And I know for sure that nobody named you Dad. Grandma definitely didn't name you Dad. That's not your name, is it, Chris? Ooh. The lightning in his eyes in that moment. But guess what? The anger that he was feeling, the ensuing punishment, he was proving my point. He didn't feel respected in that moment because he wasn't called something that made him feel respected by his son. It doesn't cost anything to be kind to someone. It doesn't cost anything to respect the way that they want to be addressed. It's a lot harder to show hate. And besides, why do you care how someone else wants to live their life if it doesn't hurt anyone else? How does that impact you at all? When I was a kid...
Nice talking back to your dad, by the way.
Woke Dad always wins. Even against his monster of a dad, he won.
So the reason why his dad was so horrible is because his dad wanted his friends to call him Daniel instead of Dan or Danny. Wow, that's a tough upbringing, man. That's rough.
Pretty monstrous.
Yeah, I didn't realize you had things so tough. I wouldn't be making fun of you so much. Also, the fact that he calls his dad Chris, and that was like this crazy thing. Is that because his dad's name is Christopher or Christian? And you can't call him a nickname? Is that the same thing?
Well, it's all fiction, so it can be whatever you want.
What a dumb story that was.
It was the worst. How long did it take him to cook these up? Because there's really a lot of twists and turns, and
yeah,
I mean, you know they're a lie because he adds too much to them.
Well, you're going to love this next one because it's one of these interactions from a customer. Oh, these are your favorites, Drew.
Why doesn't he tape these?
These are life-changing.
Because they don't
Yeah,
have
well,
Well, hire an actor.
He pulls out his phone.
recreate. You want him to recreate them.
Recreation.
I'm sorry. Were you gonna set it up?
Yeah, no, go ahead. This is
Okay,
this is the
my fault.
$20 made him cry.
All right.
$20 just made me cry. And it's not the money itself, it's paper. It was the person who handed it to me. I'm building this art studio to support kids in vulnerable communities, and I really believe in my mission. I know in my heart of hearts that this space is going to be amazing for a lot of people. I know that it's going to offer a lot of people so much comfort. And I've asked a lot from a lot of people, or at least what I think is a lot from a lot of people. I've done a lot of fundraising, and people have showed up. And now I'm staring down the barrel of potentially a $5,000 boiler bill because the heater is just not recoverable. It's completely gone. The boiler guy's coming on Tuesday to do a full quote, but that's what it looks like it's going to be. And I have been talking to people about it a little bit here and there because it is weighing on me. And someone just showed up today and handed me $20. And when she showed up and I talked with her, I said, I feel really bad that I have to keep asking so much or asking for so much. Like, I'm capable of doing this. I'm capable of making this happen with or without support. And she said, no, you don't understand. What you're doing isn't a selfish act. It's a selfless act. She said, you're asking for help because you can't carry the weight of the world on your shoulders yourself. She said $20 is small, and $20 from a bunch of people adds up quick. And before you know it, you have that new heater, and that space will be safe. She said things like what you're doing change the world. And it isn't that often that normal, everyday people like me get to help to change the world with a $20 bill. So for everyone who's helped and supported and stood up and donated, I'm so grateful. I am speechless, but very thankful.
No, you're not speechless.
No, you're insufferable.
He's speechless.
Can I ask a question about that?
How many
by the way?
people repeat giant compliments that other people give them to other people?
Yeah, it wasn't about the $20. It's about the customer said he was an amazing person who was changing the world.
I know.
Wasn't that $20 supposed to go to the art studio too? And now he's diverting funds to fix his boiler.
Oh, so that's a whole thing. And there's a bunch of videos about this. That I don't think I pulled a lot from that.
Didn't he order the wrong boiler or something?
No, that was the circuit board that he got
Okay.
for the electric. But so the boiler, he went in and he realized that he's got to replace the whole thing, and it's going to cost like $5,000. He's already sunk so much money into this building. Why didn't he get an inspector in there? Why didn't he find this out earlier? He's already put so much time into this. I was like, oh my God, I can't afford the boiler.
I feel like he's mismanaged the fuck out of this place. Because doesn't he have
right.
Doesn't he have two GoFundMe's?
He's been fundraising for this for an awfully long time.
Yes, he has.
How long has he? Because I mean, I've been watching him fundraise ever since you've been doing Woke Dad stuff, and that seems like it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been about a year.
It's
that he's
one
been working on
room,
this.
isn't it? Just one room?
No, it's the whole building. It's a house.
Is it a big building?
No.
No,
it's a
I mean,
house.
that's what I mean. It doesn't. I thought did you show it once?
Yeah, he's shown parts from the outside and rooms in the inside. He's showing his progress as he's building it out.
Pretty slow, if you ask me.
Well, all I know is that when I started WATP 8 years ago, I thought it'd just be a fun thing I would do on the weekends. I didn't realize my podcast would change the world. And I'm getting teared up right now just thinking about it.
I wonder if anyone besides us can sit through that whole discussion he just had.
You got to see the comments on it too. They're all just like, "You're amazing. We love you. You're the best."
Yeah, because he deletes the bad
Crazy.
ones.
I can't believe these
Crazy.
grifts work.
It's so nuts.
It's terrible.
So let's get to the art studio update. My next clip on here, Mark.
Yep.
Being the dad to a trans kid means that I have to live with the idea that kids within my son's community have a higher risk at not being here. And as a parent who cares about their kids more than anything, what do I do? What do I do to curb that? What do I do to change that? Well, part of it's being an affirming parent, but the other part is creating safe spaces like this art studio that I'm building to support kids in vulnerable communities. It's just going to be a real safe place for a lot of kids, and it most definitely will save lives.
See, video games.
Now, over the last few months, this place has taken some giant leaps and bounds. It's gone in the right direction. It's got a brand new roof. The one last big thing that I really had to worry about was the boiler. That's the major heating unit for this space. And the boiler is completely unusable, completely not worth recovering, so it needs a new boiler. I found that out and I was a little defeated. And if you can imagine a $5,000 bill this far into the project, that can be kind of defeating. It's not unheard of, but it's a kick in the pants for sure. I reached out to my community a little bit, thinking I could do a little bit of fundraising and help support that amount, and overnight, $550 was donated. A person offered to donate $100 if 10 other people would donate $100, and it's definitely spurred on some fundraising, which is amazing. $550 may not seem like a lot, but that's 1/10 of the way to getting this brand new boiler. That's amazing for overnight. Imagine if we could do $1,000 in a week and $5,000 in 5 weeks. We'd have this boiler, and this safe space would be a reality.
Finance it.
I've just decided I hate anyone who uses the term "a kick in the pants."
No, the worst part about that, he goes, this art studio will most definitely save lives.
Well,
And it said on the screen, watching this could help save a life.
Yeah, so we
this
just
seems
saved,
like a leap to me.
No, we just saved lives.
I would be panicked if I was kids. He's always suggesting they're in some horrible danger.
Right.
Either, I mean, whether it's to be murdered by, I don't know what he means, but he acts like it's so unsafe to be in that community. I mean, is it really that bad? Come
These
on.
trans kids are so fragile. They're going to die any second now. I can see why the mom is just like, yeah, I don't think we should encourage this kind of behavior. They don't have a good survival rate with this. It's insane what he's saying. But the fact that he connects these things, he's just like, I'm going to have this art studio for gay and trans kids, and then they won't off themselves. Like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
That's put a lot of pressure on your art studio there, buddy.
I think you need to make it, maybe open up some video games and some other stuff too, some big screens. I mean, art can get a little boring after a while, but I want to get into the books there. I feel like I don't think that money's being spent well.
Yeah, you think that he's buying something he doesn't need?
Well, I mean, what is the boiler? The original boiler? Is that a boiler he got? I mean, I don't know. I just would like to see the books. He talks about raising money so much, and yet it never seems to get done.
Well, isn't he making a lot of money doing these TikToks too? Doesn't he make money doing this or
He
no?
must be making money.
I don't know the business side of TikTok.
Okay.
I'm not a TikToker. I don't know.
But doesn't he have a lot of Instagram followers?
Instagram? I only
He's
know,
not on Instagram. He's not
I
on
only know him
Instagram.
by TikTok, where he has 151,000 followers.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. That doesn't even. That's a lot of followers, but maybe on TikTok it's not quite as many.
Well, and who knows? This seems like a grift to me. And this guy is the most soft guy I've ever seen in my life. If you want to check out this next clip on here that I sent you, I can't imagine reacting in this way or making a video about it.
There is a creator on this app that I have followed for a very long time.
Uh-oh.
And I came across one of their videos on the FYP, and it was hurtful.
Kicking the pants?
Hurtful. So transphobic and homophobic, and not in line with the person that I thought they were. Do you know what I did? Do you know what I opted to do?
Did you unfollow?
I blocked them. I didn't comment. I didn't tell them I was leaving, that this was the reason I was unfollowing them. I didn't, because I don't need to announce my departure. I don't need to
But you
make
are.
comments in their comment section. I don't need that type of content to show up on my FYP. If I don't agree with somebody, if I'm hurt by the videos that they make, if I don't like the content that they've decided to create, then I don't need to engage with them. End of story. Why would I want to engage with somebody who's being so hurtful, even if I thought they were different?
Are you okay?
Wow.
Should we call 911 for you?
He didn't have to announce anything, guys, by announcing it.
I want to see the follow-up video of the person that blocked him responding to him.
Yeah, I know. I'd love to
They
know
don't
what he
even know who
thinks
they
is
are.
so anti-trans and anti-gay. How long would this guy have lasted in one of the trenches in World War I? I mean, we're 100 years from there, and we're so soft.
What is the FYP?
For your
that's
page.
For your page,
okay,
yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, he was recommended a video that he was so offended by that he had to block the person and then make a video about how he blocked the person. And apparently he thinks that was a good move or something. I'm confused by this whole thing.
I want to get a mailing list of all these people making nice comments, these people who believe him, because they sound like the biggest suckers. How could anyone buy his bullshit?
You're right. We could definitely take money from that audience. That's a good call.
Easy grift.
I just have one more video on here. I'm going to lighten things up. It's a short one because there's so much seriousness with this guy's page. I like it when he's just being fun and funny. And he's got a brilliant Kamala Harris commentary here.
Oh, great. He's got a great sense of
I
humor.
just realized why Republicans are so terrified of Kamala Harris. It's very clearly because she's a woman in her 50s, and for them, when a woman makes it over a certain age, she becomes invisible. So they think we're talking to a ghost, or about a ghost. Blah.
Oh, what an asshole.
Oh my God. Aren't our moms in their
I was just
50s?
gonna say that,
Don't
yeah.
we notice them a little bit?
Yeah.
It's so stupid. It's really, I mean, you can pick so many holes into that
Yeah,
argument.
it
It's so
doesn't make
dumb.
any sense.
Yeah.
Who buys all these ridiculous arguments? Okay, an actress in Hollywood maybe gets a little bit invisible, but no, not all women over 50, you idiot. God, what a dumb fuck.
Especially in the world of politics, there's a lot of women over 50 in it.
Yeah, I know. I started like
stupid.
doing some research, and I'm like, what do
Why
I
bother?
care?
Yeah.
There's obviously tons of women over 50 who've been elected by Republicans.
What an edgy sense of humor he has, though. I like when he goes for the big laugh once in
Yeah.
a while.
Pretty good stuff. I like
Jeez.
that he varies it up. Some of his videos are 2.5 minutes. Most of them are 1 minute. Then every now and again, he's got a 25-second video in there that's just got a nice punch to it. Nice kicker.
I feel like he's weaving a little too much bullshit into the same stories. You know, usually if there's an interaction, a guy threw coffee and I did this, but now he's really making it complicated like that. I can't get over that priest kissing him on the lips.
Yeah, that's such bullshit.
He left out the part where he got hard, by the way.
It's not tight, and then I got real embarrassed. Also, that whole interaction with the customer, Drew, the fact that he can turn around and knows word for word what the person said to him and can recount the conversation doesn't make any sense.
Not true.
No. And the $20. Oh my God! Just
Also, everyone in this,
spit
I'm
it
just
out.
realizing this now. Everyone in the stories talks like he talks.
Yeah.
You know, like the villain Republicans talk like he talks about villain Republicans, and then the amazing people who think he's amazing, I'll say how amazing he is.
It's almost like he wrote every part.
Really,
It's
starting
crazy.
to think.
Wow. All right, is that the last cut?
That's it.
All right, we got DabbleCon's coming up, and also Detroit, October 25th. And I know that low ticket alert's going to come because I know it was selling well. So get
Yeah,
your tickets.
and I have a big announcement for everyone today.
Whoa.
We are going to live stream DabbleCon 2. You can watch it from the comfort of your home or office, although we don't recommend that. DabbleCon.live. You can sign up to stream the entire weekend. We got the roast of the Dabbleverse on Friday night. We got the live podcasts, including Uncle Rico Showworthy's podcast and Dookie Soup on Saturday afternoon, and then the Dabby Awards Saturday night. When you purchase the streaming, it gets you all of those events, and you can even watch them after they're done. DabbleCon.live.
Can we stream the dance party or the karaoke party?
That will not be streamed. You got to be there for that.
Okay. All right. And a WATP live for Magic Bag, correct?
No, Magic Bag is themagicbag.com, WATP live. You can still buy tickets to DabbleCon too if you want to come to Rochester and join us.
Cool. All right, Carl. We'll
Thanks,
be watching.
guys.
See you.
See you.
See you. All right.